double check on, make sure I get it right. I believe it's a Raufeiser, but I want to make sure. Because whenever someone says my name wrong, or more importantly, spells it wrong.
Cedric.
Please don't say that again. It actually is like nails on a chalkboard for me.
I know.
Raufeiser. Perfect. Derek Raufeiser, Brennan, DeCandio. So, small story here before we're underway. So at my job, I get a chai some mornings. Every time I order a chai, person asks my name. And I always say the same thing, Cedric, C-E-D-R-I-C. And then when it comes up in front of me, it is S-E-D-R-I-C. We are 5 for 5 on this at this point. Do I have any recourse here?
So
what can I do?
Well, I mean, you can go to a different place.
It's on the first floor of the building I work at. Am I supposed to go somewhere else?
I mean, that just sounds like you're weighing different pros and cons and making a decision. So okay. You've already exercised your recourse. You're just going to keep taking the L.
What can I say to this person who takes my order? It's the same person that spells it wrong every time.
So I don't.
Is there a polite way to do this?
I don't know why. So your name being pronounced incorrectly, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. It being spelled incorrectly on what I'm assuming is a Starbucks cup, I don't know why that would matter so much.
It would matter because I always do the same thing. I say Cedric, C-E-D-R-I-C. So this is blatant just ignoring me saying it. I'm telling you how to spell it so you don't do it wrong.
I would say don't spell it next time and just see what happens.
Okay. I'm going to keep you updated on this.
Good.
It drove me the most crazy yesterday where it was like, are we not even trying anymore?
I don't know. Like you got to these people who have jobs like working at a Starbucks can be it's busy, stressful, and it doesn't pay the best. It's okay to let these people it's one less thing to worry about.
I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to make their job less stressful.
It sounds that's not true.
I'm trying to make it less stressful by telling them how to spell instead of them having to guess.
But it doesn't matter to their job whether or not they spell your name correctly. You're just another chai out the door. They're just waiting for you to leave.
Oh.
It's not really helping them. It's you trying to help yourself under the guise of trying to help them.
I'm infringing on their territory, it sounds like.
It just doesn't matter that much. You lecturing them on how to actually spell your name.
It's not a lecture.
To me is a bigger, given all the factors here, it is more problematic behavior than these people spelling your name incorrectly, or this one person, whatever the case may be.
So now I'm the bad guy.
I've
turned into the bad guy now.
It's just complicated. It's just complicated stuff.
DeCandio with the stubborn denial on that Serum Visions to start. He has opted as well. Scry to the bottom, drew a fresh card. Derek is going to attempt to resolve a search for his Kanta, which will resolve. As we head back over to Brennan. Picked up another copy of Opt.
You're about to get bingo here, so we can just be done with that, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm very far ahead right now. Team Cedric is destroying Patrick. Bottom row, for those of you keeping track at home, we already have Invention on the battlefield, Spell Cast with Flashback, Cavern of Souls not naming Eldrazi, Elves, or Humans, and Unstable Basic Land.
And I think we're going to have a Gurmag Angler this turn, so there you go.
This is big. This might be a record. 3 rounds. Now, for what it's worth, you did win last week.
You just
missed that you got the Spell of Flashback.
Yeah.
But you won last week. So I'm not undefeated anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I took the L, like I keep taking the L with the coffee cup.
Yeah, I think it's important. Now, some people can really enjoy their job at a coffee shop. I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of people, it's like a job that they have to do to survive, and they don't necessarily enjoy it very much. I think it's important to be kind and understanding of the people who do not have great jobs.
I'm never mean. I haven't even said anything about the misspelling.
But it's not even just about
I didn't even say anything.
Your behavior, it's also your reaction to the behavior. That is all part of it.
There's no negative reaction to them yet.
Well, we're having this conversation. And you also just said yet. You qualified it. That's subject to change.
I did qualify it.
Okay, bingo. Good.
Bingo.
We're done.
Ship it.
Done. That's a speed record right there.
X and 1 in bingo and fastest victory of all time. 2 for 1, aisle 3.
Mm-hmm.
Death Shadow and Gurmag Angler are here. Search for his Kanta. Going to leave that card on top, will Derek. Let's see what this is going to be. That's a spreading seas. That's a little late.
Got him.
Yeah, that's a little late, as the Steam Vents is now an island. Hallowed Fountain tapped. We're going to head back over to Brennan. And Brennan will draw. Picked up a copy of Street Wraith, which means that Death Shadow might be getting a little bit larger.
Yeah, DeCandio, I don't think can quite win the game this turn, but he can get awfully close.
Yeah, if he could win the game this turn, I would be impressed. As he picked up a copy of Fatal Push. That one's not so good here.
Well, let's get yourself down to 1 plus have a lightning bolt is the path. Unlikely, not inconceivable.
Mm-hmm. Opt. Going to be going to the bottom, I believe. Actually, no, he's going to keep it. All right, Blood Crypt on tap. That's a red source of mana. Down to 7. In with Angler and Death Shadow. Pretty healthy attack there for Brennan. And he will pass the turn back. Derek will put that Mana Leak into the graveyard from the Sorcerer's Kanta. Doesn't need that one. Picked up a copy of Cryptic Command. Not sure how helpful that is. This is a Gideon of the Trials. That's going to resolve. Gideon the Trials will plus. And it's going to shut down the Death Shadow. Brennan can win this game pretty simply now. He'll play a Snapcaster Mage. He'll recast an Opt. He does have a Lightning Bolt in hand, so he'll scry. Thought Scour will go to the grip. Untap, 5+2. Well, that's 7 all day long. Lightning Bolt's going to make it 10. And we are all done here. And game number 1 is Brennan DeCandio going to win game number 1 here over Blue-White Control. Grixis Death Shadow very quickly up a game. So we'll be turning our attention to more coffee-related discussions and Death Shadow sideboard here in just a moment. But first, a few messages from our sponsors. We are back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, getting ready to watch game number 2 here between Grixis Death Shadow and Blue-White Control. We'll start with Derek's sideboard, in which he's got 2 Stony Silence, 2 Celestial Purge, 2 Rest in Peace, and a whole bunch of 1-ofs here in Negate, Dispel, Timely Reinforcements, Elseth, Sun's Champion, Jace Architect of Thought, Supreme Verdict, Runed Halo, Vendilion Click, and Blessed Alliance.
So the Rune Halo, Blessed Alliance, Supreme Verdict are very good here. I like the Celestial Purges and the Rest in Peace. And depending on what the rest of his top end is, I could be talking to Elspeth Sun's Champion. The game do go for a long time. Grixis Death Shadow has a lot of interaction, and that card on the battlefield is pretty close to game over.
Yeah, this is an interesting sideboard. A lot of tools over there for our blue-white control player, Derek. So we take a look at Brennan's sideboard. Grixis Death Shadow. He's got 2 Liliana the Last Hope, 2 Anger of the Gods, 2 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Engineering Explosives, 2 Stubborn Denial, 2 Grim Lavamancer, Kolaghan's Command, a Fatal Push, and his own Vendilion Click.
A little bit lighter here. I like the Vendilion Click, the Kolaghan's Command, the additional copies of Stubborn Denial, and the Liliana the Last Hopes.
Good options there for both players. Looks like they're going to finish shuffling and getting ready here for game number 2. And we'll be taking a look at game number 2 here in just a moment. Grixis Death Shadow, Blue-White Control. Blue-White Control, you know, starting to see maybe a little bit more of this and your Jeskai Controls of the world, given what's been doing well in Modern over the past handful of months in Humans, Affinity, and Hollow One. I do know that Blue-White Control at Pro Tour rivals Vixalon put up a very nice record in the hands of both Alex Mazelton and Gabriel Nassif, the Hall of Famer.
All right, want to back up a little bit here. Last thoughts on the coffee stub.
Sure.
About people enjoying their jobs, and you need to, make an effort to be kind and understanding to people who have, stressful jobs that aren't necessarily what they want to be doing. Someone who works at their local coffee shop, some percentage of people really do enjoy it. Sometimes they're part of the team that owns it, or it's just part of the local community. They enjoy what they're doing, enjoy their customers, the environment, all of that. That is part of it. No one enjoys their job at Starbucks. No one enjoys a job. It's no one. Not a single soul. So it might be different if it was your local coffee shop, whatever. Some little hipster spot in your neighborhood in Seattle.
It is a local Seattle chain. It's not the Starbucks, just so that you know.
Okay. Then that's maybe a little bit different. But still. Then why are they writing your name on the cup?
No, so not writing the name on the cup. So here's what happens. I normally order a chai and a quiche in the morning. Okay. And then they ask for my name.
Okay.
And I say Cedric, Cedric. And then the price comes up, and my name comes up in the little register thing, and it says Cedric.
So it's not even on the cup you're carrying around. It's just on briefly on a screen when you're.
And then my receipt.
That's incredibly petty of you to care. That's it. I thought it was still petty when I thought it was just when it was just on the cup. Wow.
She asked my name.
Never mind.
She asked my name.
I don't want to. I can't talk about this anymore. Now I'm too upset. I'm upset.
She asked. This isn't my fault. She asked. I'm trying to be helpful.
Oh, my God.
She asked. I don't know if it's on the cup. Actually, I don't know.
If it's just on the screen, wow.
I don't know. Well, then why are they asking me for my name at all?
That's a good question.
Okay. Rest in pieces. That's what Derek is going to attempt to do here. Going to shut down the graveyard, which makes Tassier worse, Angler worse, Snapcaster Mage worse, and Kolaghan's Command a little bit worse. Still 3 good modes on that card, though.
And Liliana the Last Hope in the event that DeCandio brought that card in.
Good point. So Rest in Peace, generally a tool that players do go to against Grixis Death Shadow. Good card to have.
Cuts out a lot of the efficiency of the deck and cuts out a lot of the deck staying power if the game goes late. Doesn't do a whole lot against Death Shadow or the related interactions, but all the other elements of the deck are a lot less efficient.
DeCandio doing a little bit of opting. Scry 1. Stubborn Denial has been found. There's also an Engineer Explosives in Brennan's hand right now. I am a little bit curious if Brennan will use that to blow up the Rest in Peace. How much does he care about having access to his graveyard? As he picked up a copy of Inquisition of Kozilek with the opt, he'll draw a card, has found a copy of Death Shadow.
I mean, over the long game, it matters quite a bit. Not to say he's necessarily going to use the Engineer Explosives here, but that Rest in Peace is a high priority target.
Inquisition of Kozilek, let's get a look. Let's scope it out. All right, a lot of removal spells over there. Path to Exile, Celestial Purge. You'll find a couple of lands there in Hollow Fountain and Celestial Colonnade, and then the very powerful Cryptic Command. Purge, out of here. Gone for good, keep in mind, because of the Rest in Peace. See where DeCandio wants to go next. He knows that whatever his next threat is will probably be taken care of via the Path to Exile. That is a polluted Delta, and Brennan will simply pass the turn back over to Derek. Colonnade there for Derek, and he will pass the turn back over to Brennan. Brennan's going to fetch, go down to at least 16, probably 14 given the deck that he's playing. He's thinking Blood Crypt.
Could be a Steam Vents if he wants to opt here in a turn and get to red mana.
We'll go with a Watery Grave, will Brennan DeCandio. And now here is that opt. So Scry 1 coming here yet again. And it's a Scalding Tarn that he's looking at with the Scry. He'll keep the Scalding Tarn, it appears as though he needs more lands, or perhaps lands that will deal him damage for Death Shadow as he picks up a copy of Stubborn Denial, does DeCandio. Blue-White, a deck that was developed to combat aggressive decks and Death Shadow last year. Does a nice job of doing both. Pretty good against other control decks as well. Very bad against the big mana decks.
Yep. Light on targets for removal spells. A lot of both cheap removal and, haymakers if the game drags out for a long time.
You'll see an Engineer Explosives there on 2. Looks like DeCandio would like to take care of Rest in Peace. Play a Scalding Tarn and pass the turn back. Over to Derek. Derek will draw. Picked up a copy of Supreme Verdict. That's a nice one to have in the matchup. A good way to trump those Stubborn Denials. Doesn't have a ton of copies of that card. Just one in the main and then a second one in the sideboard. Derek has actually mixed up his removal here quite a bit here this weekend. 4 paths. You're going to find that a lot in Blue-White Control, of course. You'll also find 2 copies of Detention Sphere, 3 copies of Cryptic Command if you want to consider that removal, and then a Settle the Wreckage, a Wrath of God, and a Supreme Verdict. All of those, that kind of diversification, is to help beat a card like Meddling Mage.
Yep. You want to have a spread of stuff, spread of names, spread of both cheap stuff and expensive stuff.
Be a Field of Ruin activation here from Derek on Brennan's end step. Going to take care of the Watery Grave. And now both these players will take a basic out of their deck and place it on the battlefield. There'll be an island there for Derek and a swamp there for DeCandio. You see this powerful non-basic. Taps to add a colorless, and then 2 tap, sacrifice Field of Ruin, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Each player searches his or her library for a basic land card and puts it onto the battlefield. Notably, it's untapped, then shuffles his or her library.
A lot more. Ghost Quarter is if speed's at a premium. If you just want to play a long game with a utility land that interacts against other lands, this card's a lot more powerful.
Which Derek does want to do, given the deck that he is playing. 4 copies of Field of Ruin in his deck. 1 copy of Ghost Quarter. It'll be a Serum Visions now here for our Blue-White Control player. Draw a card, picked up. It looks like another copy of Serum Visions. Scry 2 here after he rearranges his deck very quickly. I see at least 1 Cryptic Command there. Well, he's happy with both of those cards, so he will keep. That'll be a Plains. Cryptic Command at the ready here for Derek. And I believe he'll be happy to pass the turn back over to DeCandio, and he will. DeCandio's going to sacrifice the Scalding Tarn. You may have seen in the interim there, between that Field of Ruin activation, that DeCandio did blow his Engineered Explosives. Rest in Peace is no longer on the battlefield, which means both players will have access to their graveyards again. Derek not really using his all that much. 2 main deck copies of Snapcaster Mage. That's really about it. Don't want to forget Search for His Kanta transforming as well, but Search for His Kanta is so good that it doesn't need to transform to be an elite card.
Yeah, you can just kind of hang back and just scry away, even if your graveyard's shut off.
Here's Thought Scour. So DeCandio's going to start filling up that graveyard for those Delve cards, as well as Snapcaster Mage, and maybe even in the off chance Kolaghan's Command and Liliana, the last hope. Looted Delta and Engineer Explosives will go to the graveyard. New card drawn there for Brennan. It is looks like another copy of Stubborn Denial there for your Grixis Death Shadow player. And now Brennan will pick up a copy of Street Wraith.
And a really good turn here for Brennan to try to force something through if he's got Stubborn Denial. He knows that Derek is on Cryptic Command, but only has the 4 mana. So if he can find a way to get a threat on the battlefield, good enough for Derek to try to use a Cryptic Command. Great spot to cash in your Stubborn Denial.
DeCandio's going to go searching here with the Swamp. We're going to see a Death Shadow, it appears, and we will. So it looks like that's going to be a 2/2 Death Shadow. Here is a Cryptic Command that you mentioned, Patrick, and there's a Stubborn Denial that you felt would be pretty timely. So there it is. And now we head back over to Derek. Cryptic Command, for how good of a card it is a touch expensive.
Yep. You can only play so many of them. Although this deck might be all on 3. Some of these blue control decks are really, they cap out on Cryptic Command. That's the game plan.
We'll see a Path to Exile on DeCandio's upkeep. Cycle Street Wraith in responsible to DeCandio. Most notable about this play is that's going to bring his life total down to 9, which means that Stubborn Denial will be ferocious. Cryptic Command would like to counter that. Take that ferocious Stubborn Denial out of here. I think we'll see counter draw there on the Cryptic. We will. So now Path to Exile will resolve, and DeCandio will get to search for a basic and place it onto the battlefield tapped. Keep in mind, this is all in DeCandio's upkeep. He has not even drawn a card yet. We'll head back over to Brennan now. He's passed his upkeep into the draw phase, and now he's drawn a copy of Scalding Tarn. Hand not looking all that great here, Patrick. A lot of lands, a Dismember that's not looking particularly good, and the Kolaghan's Command that I think he'll be pretty reliant on, though there's nothing great to get back.
Yep, and if he, nukes a lot of his graveyard to the Gurmag Angler here, that cuts off a little bit of the range. Although, I guess at this point, there's enough in his graveyard that he could preserve whatever creature he wanted to. Although, it appears that that's just a Street Wraith right now. Yeah, his hand's soft, little heavy on mana and a Dismember, which remains to be seen how many targets are even in Derek's deck.
Gurmag Angler will come on down. Delve away 6, pay a single black. That's all you got to do for a 5/5 in this deck. Pass the turn back over to Derek. Derek will take a draw. He's got that Supreme Verdict in hand. We do know that. It looks like he picked up a copy of Blessed Alliance, and now here is Serum Visions. Serum Visions will resolve. Draw a card. Scry 2 will our blue-white control player. Split the difference on the Scry. 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Maybe not. He'll consult his hand a little bit more before making this decision. And now he will split the difference. So Visions is done resolving. That is a Field of Ruin. Quick basic land check on DeCandio's deck.
1 swamp, 1 island.
Okay. It's got them both on the battlefield, so Field of Ruin will actually play the role of a expensive strip mine here moving forward.
Well, it's free. He even gets to replace the land.
Yeah, that's true.
It's even better.
Bloodstained Mire will be sacrificed. That'll be a blood. Yeah, it'll be a blood crypt here for DeCandio. Strikes me as a tough game for Brennan to win right now.
Yeah, Derek's doing a nice job of having, cheap interaction and powerful interaction. And I think against Death Shadow, you want a blend of that stuff.
Let's go back over to DeCandio now. Picked up a copy of Thought Scour. Okay. And there's a Scalding Tarn. Here's an attack with the real big fish. This will be a Blessed Alliance. And that one coming in from the sideboard.
Wouldn't surprise me if DeCandio just let this one go, as it's not the worst opportunity for him to cash in the Kolaghan's Command for quite a bit of value. Derek's running low on cards, so making him discard a card and getting your Angler back is not the worst.
I'm curious to see how DeCandio wants to play through this. Here's a Thought Scour. 1 is Liliana, 2 is Street Wraith. Let's draw a new one. Didn't get a great look. May have been a Snapcaster, though.
Yep, it's Snapcaster.
So we could have Snapcaster. Could have been on Stubborn Denial there. Looks like DeCandio doesn't want to go that route. He's got bigger plans for that Snapcaster Mage. Here's Field of Ruin now. Derek's plan here might just be to cut the red sources, perhaps.
Well, I don't know if there's necessarily like an overarching plan here to cut DeCandio off of a color. It's more, you got the mana left over. You can safely assume he's out of basics, so just try to pin down the mana a little bit.
Okay. There, go to basic island. Brennan will fake search and just shuffle because he has nothing left to search for. Well, let's go over to Derek again. He'll draw. He picked up another copy of Field of Ruin. Okay, then. Derek also with a copy of Sphinx's Revelation in hand. If he wanted to go for it all, it'd be for 4.
And if DeCandio makes him discard a card at the end of the turn with a Kolaghan's Command, wouldn't shock me if he just read in response and threw away something not very good.
You see the main phase activation of Field of Ruin going after the Steam Vents. DeCandio may respond here with that K command. And if he does, I'll be interested, not surprised, but interested to see what the modes will be and how Derek will respond in kind.
Feels like raise dead and discard a card.
Raise dead, probably the Angler.
Yeah, that would be my best guess.
Yeah, it's going to be bring back Angler and discard. Now, if you're Derek, what do you want to discard here? You got a Rev and you got a Supreme Verdict. Both cards great in the matchup. And it looks like the question is answered, discarding the Rev.
I was going to say, my instinct here is keep the Revelation. The game's going to go on for a long time, et cetera, et cetera. I think with the colonnades on the battlefield, you want the Supreme Verdict because you do have stuff to do with your mana. I think if Derek's lands were, imagine the colonnades are just 2 Glacial Fortresses, I think at that point you keep the Revelation.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I suppose he could kind of close this game out a little bit pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like you won't have things to do with your mana.
Mm-hmm.
And the Supreme Verdict is it's a nice backstop to have. It's more powerful than most of the cards in your deck, so.
Well, this may be an interesting turn here for DeCandio. If DeCandio can draw a land, he could Snapcaster back Kolaghan's Command. Though the question is, does he even have any more lands to tap for mana?
Yeah, he might be out.
Okay.
I mean, 1 Island, 1 Swamp, 2 Watery Grave, 2 Blood Crypt, 1 Steam Vents. And I can't say that I've been tracking every single land that's been milled over or discard over, but he might be very low on lands that make mana.
Well, we'll go to Derek. Remember, he's got that Supreme Verdict in hand. Does he want to cash it in now, or does he simply wait?
If I'm in Derek's seat here, it's really hard for me just to turn down attack with the Colonnade.
Well, he's interested. Attack for 4. Brennan actually can hard cast a Dismember. Doesn't have to even lose any life to do so. So we'll head back over to DeCandio. DeCandio will draw a card. Picked up a copy of Tasigur. Here comes the real big fish. Gurmag Angler. Gonna knock Derek down to 13. Glacial Fortress the draw. Flooded Strand was the draw last turn, and we can't forget about the Supreme Verdict that is in hand. Interesting situation we are at in this game. Well, you wanted to attack with Colonnade last turn. Do you want to do it again?
I mean, I think so. How has your position gotten worse? Is it now Snapcaster Mage that's a concern? If it's Snapcaster Mage, then your Supreme Verdict the following turn is even better because he has 1 less threat to follow up with.
Okay.
And if he's out of removal, then it's even better. I mean, you're still doing fine on the race.
And you are still, you're dealing 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So Brennan will take 2 from that. Going to fall down to 5. Derek will play Glacial Fortress past the turn back. This is an attack for 5, 6, 7. Now Derek is down to 6. Oh, boy. Brennan drew a copy of Vendilion Click.
That's pretty much perfect here. The ideal would be to have a threat with Flash.
Yeah.
To follow up against the Supreme Verdict.
Or just play it in the draw step.
Yep.
If you want to check out what's going on.
I mean, playing in the draw step is pretty risky, I think. Unnecessarily risky because if you just blind put him on a Supreme Verdict, you're down the click. This way, you still get to click his hand, and it's just much more padding in the event that the top card of his deck happens to be Supreme Verdict.
A Verdict cleared out. The hand here is a Flooded Strand, but keep in mind, Derek did play a copy of Celestial Colonnade post-Verdict. Kolaghan's Command the draw. Here's an attack for 3. Derek going to fall down to 3. I believe DeCandio has the ability to play a Tasigur and keep up both Kolaghan's Command and Snapcaster Mage here. there may be some interest in that.
Well, the Snapcaster Mage, what's going on with it in the event that you nuke your graveyard? I mean, it's a flash threat, I suppose.
Yeah.
If he hits you with a sweeper, you can just play Snapcaster Mage and Kolaghan's Command to end the
That'll
game.
take care of it.
Yeah.
We'll see nothing instead as Derek will draw a card. Let's see what this is going to be. Gideon. That's going to be Snapcaster Mage, I think, on, is that Stubborn Denial? Thought Scour. Target himself. 1 is a Thoughtseize. 2 is a Dismember. Draw a card. And yeah, if this Gideon resolves, which it will, target there, and then we should be all set now.
Yeah, the Kolaghan's Command plus the 1 attacking threat should do it.
Yep. There's an attack. There's Kolaghan's Command. That's going to do it. So Brennan DeCandio is going to win this match here over Derek Raufeiser. 2-0. Grixis Death Shadow going to take care of blue-white control. And really nice game management there from Brennan on both games. Just slowly picking his spots. Decided to take care of that Rest in Peace with the Engineered Explosives. Get access to his graveyard again. His graveyard much more important than Derek's. And you saw him use it in a big way to achieve victory.